And amidst the political turmoil, a litmus test awaits Hong Kong's establishment. District council elections are up next month with a record number of over 1,000 candidates gunning for 431 seats.
But the race has been marred by the continued unrest, with reports of violence, doxing, vandalism and accusations of arbitrary vetting by the authorities. Roland Lim explains.
All eyes are on the November 24th local election. It is the next political battleground where the pro-establishment bloc is expected to take a beating at the ballots, given their support for the controversial extradition bill that's now been withdrawn. More than 150 offices of the pro-Beijing parties have been vandalized in the past several months of street protests. But some analysts predict that the impact on the pro-Beijing parties may not be huge, given the debate has moved on from the extradition bill.
Hong Kong people's deep-seated obsession with stability and law and order will arise. And that means that during the November district election, the issue might be law and order versus disturbance and chaos. But if that's the case, the margin of victory won by the opposition in the last couple of months might dissipate to a certain extent. And when we also take into consideration the much more superior district work done at the grassroots level by the pro-Beijing forces.
This year, the pro-establishment DAB, the city's biggest party, will field a total of 179 candidates, 9 more than the last election when it won 70% of the seats contested. Now, unlike legislative councillors or lawmakers, district councillors are grassroots leaders with very little power. They tend to advise the government on the allocation of funds in the various districts. But if one party dominates a district, they have more bargaining power. And in the last chief executive elections, nearly 10% of the 1,200 election committee that voted the chief executive were made up of district councillors. This election will also see a slew of relative newcomers, spurred on by the rise of local activism, in a bid to prevent further erosion of rights and freedom in the city at the hands of Beijing. At least 5 nominees, including prominent activist Joshua Wong, have been questioned by returning officers on their political stance and support for self-determination. Many were asked to explain the protest slogan, "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Times," which they say isn't necessarily in support for independence, but simply to reclaim the core values of the Hong Kong people. Vincent Lam, an assistant to opposition lawmaker Claudia Mo, included the protest slogan on his platform, but was cleared to run, calling the decision arbitrary.
It's proof that there is no standard line for the confirmation officer for which slogan need to ask or which do not need to ask. I'm Vincent Lam is not the important, even I am the candidate. Maybe Vincent Chan, maybe Vincent Lee is not the important. The important is how many of Hong Kong people use this election have a chance to have a so-called referendum, universal suffrage, to prove that we are the majority voice in Hong Kong society right now.
So far, no one has been disqualified to run. Another nominee, civil human rights convener Jimmy Sum, meantime was seriously assaulted by 5 unidentified assailants with hammers on Wednesday night. It was the second attack in 2 months on Sum, who helped organize the million-strong marches in June. He's now in a stable condition. Chief Executive Carrie Lam has insisted that her administration remains committed to holding the polls next month and conducting a fair and open and honest election. If the polls are postponed, the backup date is slated for December 1st, failing which authorities will have to go to LegCo to fix a new date. Roland Lim, CNA, Hong Kong.